one more session of Read Aloud for today to see what happens since they've just discovered a picture of looks exactly like Avon, but isn't her. It's from 1973, and this lady is wearing that turquoise necklace, and she has arms. So we'll find out what happens next. I showed Mom the picture that evening. She stared at it a long time before whispering, "Could just be a coincidence." She didn't look like she even believed her own words. She sat down at our little kitchen table without taking her eyes off the picture. "She definitely has your face, but this picture is in black and white. Maybe your hair is a different color." "Yeah, but don't you think it's strange?" I said. She nodded, then set the picture down. "It must be a coincidence. I saw this show once about doppelgangers." "What?" I asked. That word sounded dangerous and exciting, and certainly I didn't know what it was. "Oh, a doppelganger is somebody who just happens to look a lot like you, but you aren't related or anything." "Oh, that wasn't as exciting as I thought." "Anyway," she went on, "there are people who look alike all over the world, like literally identical. But when their DNA tested, they found out that they aren't related at all. They're just randomly look-alike people." "Well, that's weird. I guess I found my doppelganger." "No," she smiled. Doppelganger. Doppelganger. I thought for a moment. "I wonder if Henry knew this girl, and that's why he keeps thinking I'm somebody else." She looked from me to the picture and was about to say something when Dad walked in. "Oh, Mean Bob has officially left the building," he said, "and good riddance." "What a relief," Mom said. She got up and handed Dad the picture. "Avon found this in the storage room." Dad stared at the picture for a long time before looking at me. "Odd," he said. "You found this in that desk?" "No, none of the keys worked. We found it stuck in a box." He didn't say anything more, but I did notice the way he and Mom looked at each other, and their faces weren't very happy. Zion's mom dropped him off at Stagecoach Pass early Saturday morning, and then Mom took us to pick Connor up at his apartment. He was already outside his door when I walked up the concrete path. "Hi," I said, meeting him in the front of the apartment as he turned to lock the door. He struggled with the old lock. "Hey." He followed me down to the car and peeked his head in the front window and said, "Hi, Mrs. Green," before getting into the back seat with Zion. "Hi, Connor," my mom said and pulled away from the curb. "Are you excited for our little adventure?" "I know I am. Anything to get away from Stagecoach Pass right now and all the craziness of the festival planning. I seriously need a break." Connor gave me a hesitant glance. "Avon and Zion aren't even telling me where we're going." "Well then," Mom said, "I won't ruin the surprise." Connor seemed relaxed as we drove through Scottsdale. We spent most of the drive talking about Arizona and how we liked it here. "I've never seen a saguaro cactus before, until I moved here," I told them, thinking of the great saguaro at the top of my hill in Stagecoach Pass. "Well, one that wasn't me anyway in the play." That got us talking to Down and Dirty in Kansas City and the total lameness of Desert Moon over the desert again. It took us a long time to get to the movie theater. As we pulled up in front of it, Connor no longer looked relaxed. I knew he was angry. "Avon, I told you I don't ever want to go to the movies," he said, his eyes blinking rapidly and his shoulders shrugging. "Connor, just wait," I said. "I'm not going in." He nearly shouted at me. Zion slumped down in his seat and stared at his lap. "Calm down, Connor," Mom said gently. "We have a special surprise for you. You don't have to worry about upsetting any other movie watchers." Connor huffed. "Of course I do. I can't go into the movies." "Yes, you can," Mom said. "Do you not trust us?" Connor glowered at me, his ticking increasing by the moment. "Yes, but..." "But nothing," Mom said. "Let's go in. We're seeing the new sci-fi movie you guys wanted to see so badly." Connor threw his head back against the seat rest and ticked and huffed some more while Mom parked the car. We got out and we walked up to the ticket booth where Mom quietly spoke with the cashier for a minute before buying 4 tickets to the movie. Connor barked a lot as we walked through the lobby. It was early though, so there were only a few bystanders around to gawk at him. People didn't seem to notice me at all when Connor was around, and I felt bad for Connor, but I also enjoyed feeling invisible. As we entered the theater, Mom said, "It appears you have the pick of your seats." The theater was completely empty. Connor looked at me and Zion, and I smiled at him. Mom had to call a lot of movie theaters until she found one that was willing to let us have the whole theater to ourselves. "Are you serious?" said Connor. "Well, we couldn't afford to rent out the whole theater, so it was a lot to ask. But the manager here has a son with Tourette's syndrome and was really understanding. Plus, he said the morning show is usually fairly empty, so we were able to work it out." I could see the darkness lift off Connor like a blanket as his eyes lit up, and that alone made everything so worth it. "For real?" he said. "We have the whole theater to ourselves?" "For real," said Mom. Connor put an arm around Mom's shoulder. "Mrs. Green, you are the coolest." "I know," she said casually. "Now you 3 go and find a seat. I'm going to sit way in the back where I like it." "Can we get some popcorn?" Connor asked, and I knew he must have been incredibly happy to ask for food. "Heck yeah," I said. "I want some popcorn and some gummy bears." "Gross," I answered. "You like those?" "Heck yeah," I said again as we walked out of the theater. "I love squishy gummy candies. I love hot tamales too. My dad says I like them because they're red like my hair and hot like my temper," and I laughed. Connor grinned. "That's great to know. We'll try to stay on your good side." "Who says you're on it?" I narrowed my eyes at the two of them. "I was just hoping we were." Connor shrugged his shoulders and blinked, but it made me happy to see that despite being out in public, his tics weren't completely out of control. I hoped that meant he was starting to feel a little more comfortable. "I bet your parents want to see this movie, Zion," I said. "Are you kidding? They went to the midnight showing on opening night. They waited in line for a few hours, too." He rolled his eyes. "And they had to wear costumes." Because it was so early, we didn't have to wait in line to get our snacks. Mom had given me some money that morning, and I told Zion to reach his hand inside my purse and get it out. I also let the boys handle the transaction. It was kind of nice not having Mom there and making me do everything. Zion paid for our popcorn, sodas, and gummy bears. $20 poorer. We headed back to the theater. Connor's and Zion's arms stuffed full of treats. Mine, not so much. I stopped at the bathroom on the way back so I could wash my feet since I knew I'd be dipping them into popcorn. As we sat waiting for the movie to start, the 3 of us serendipitously glanced back at Mom sitting in the very back row. "Do you think she might be hiding something from you?" Connor asked in a hushed voice. "And why did she cover herself with napkins?" I giggled. "It's warm enough outside to wear shorts and sleeves so she forgets to bring the sweater when we go places when it's cold inside from the AC. She calls napkins her blankets." I rolled my eyes. It was even more embarrassing than when my great-grandmother in Kansas used a flashlight to get around in the movie theater. She does it at restaurants, too. At least here no one can see her. "Do you think she has any idea at all who that girl might be, and she's just not telling you? The one from the picture?" Connor asked. I looked back at her, all covered in her blankets, a goofy smile on her face. "No, I don't. She seemed totally surprised. My parents would tell me if they had any idea what was going on. She said it's probably just a coincidence." I told them about the new word I'd learned, doppelganger. "I still don't buy it," Connor said. "What are the odds that you would end up here at this park and find your doppelganger?" "Well," I said, "I found this article online about these 2 guys who ended up sitting next to each other on a plane and they looked identical. And then there's that one movie star who everyone thinks is a vampire because there's a picture of a man who looks just like him from World War I. We lost interest in Mom and plopped back down in our seats. "I know what happened," Connor suddenly declared, making Zion almost jump out of his seat. "There's a portal up on the hill. You go through the portal while you're wearing the necklace you found and go back to time in 1973. And while you're there, you have your picture taken." Connor looked extremely proud of himself and then barked and said, "That's it. I've totally solved it. You could run into your grown-up self at any time, so you better be careful." "Why do I need to be careful?" I asked him. "Is my grown-up self dangerous?" "Yeah, clearly," Connor said, and he looked at Zion for confirmation. So Zion nodded. "Yeah, I'm pretty scared of grown-up Avon, too. Why wouldn't she just come and tell us all of this if she's wandering around somewhere? I mean, you'd remember us, wouldn't you?" Zion asked me like we were talking about something that was actually true. "Maybe she's dead," Connor said. I smiled. "Yeah, the rodeo clown mafia?" "Totally," and we giggled. I stuck a piece of popcorn in my mouth with my foot and chewed. I really loved this whole theory, especially since the magical portal made me grow arms. Connor's face fell and he said, "Oh, yeah, I didn't really think of that." "Well, you never know what a magical portal might do," Zion said, and Connor's smile returned. I decided to take advantage of Connor's good mood. "So you're coming to the festival or what?" I asked him. "I already told you." I know. I just thought I'd double check." "Well, you can stop double checking," Connor said, "because the only way I'm going to a crowd like that would be if somebody tied me up and dragged me there." Zion grinned. "Don't give her any ideas." Zion seemed to know me pretty well already. I opened the front door to let Connor in. He trudged into the apartment, his shoulders slumped, and he looked so depressed I thought he might burst into tears. "Is everything okay?" I asked. He shrugged, and I couldn't tell if it was a tic or if he was deliberately being evasive. He leaned against the wall, not looking at me, and let out a bark. "My parents are taking a big piece of fence out of the rodeo arena so food trucks can get through. I've been working on that stupid report for language arts." He just stared at the floor. "Hey, guess the name of the band we hired to play for the festival," I said, hoping he'd snap out of whatever funk he was in. He shrugged again. "The Flapjackaroos." I laughed. "They normally do gigs for Waffle House and stuff like that, but I guess the country western breakfast entertainment business isn't booming, so we got them to do the festival, and for cheap, too." He still didn't look at me. "Is everything okay with your mom?" I asked him. Finally, he spoke and just said, "Yeah." "Did something happen at school?" He didn't answer me, just barely shook his head. Hoping I could cheer him up, I said, "Hey, I have a surprise for you." He followed me into the living room. I sat on the edge of a small couch, my guitar at my feet. "Sit down." I motioned with my head for him to sit beside me. He dropped his backpack onto the floor and flopped down with a dramatic sigh. I plucked at the strings with my toes for a second and adjusted one of them. I took a deep breath, willed my pounding heart to slow down, and I began to play. I had practiced Moon River every day for the last month, but I still managed to hit a wrong note here and there. It sounded okay, though, and Connor was completely quiet as I played. Completely quiet. No tics. When I finished, I looked at him, and I said, "You didn't tick the whole time I was playing." I almost said it in a whisper, like if I spoke any louder it would shatter the fragile quiet, and Connor would unload all of the tics he had bottled up while I played. I had thought for a moment he would be so happy I finally played for him after all the times he had asked me, but I saw that he had a tear in his eye. "Maybe you could bring the guitar to school and follow me around and play music everywhere I go." And then a single tear escaped and ran down his cheek. Then I could stop being such a freak. In my whole life, I had seldom felt like I was missing out on anything by not having arms. Some of the only times that I ever truly wished for them were during those fleeting moments of frustration when my shirt got caught around my neck or some insensitive person tossed something at me without thinking, only to have whatever it was bounce off my head or chest. But at this moment, as I watched the tear slide down Connor's cheek, I felt the true loss of not having arms, because I couldn't reach out and wipe it away, and I wasn't about to do that with my foot. "What's wrong?" I asked him. Connor shook his head. "I could never do anything like that." "Well, sure you can. You can play the guitar. I'll teach you." "No," he wiped at his cheek. "That's not what I meant. Avon, you don't understand. It's like it doesn't even matter to you that you don't have arms. You still play the guitar and go to museums and restaurants and do all kinds of stuff, but I can't do anything. I can't go out in public. Well, of course you can. Look at all you've done lately. Going to the meetings and the movies and coming here all the time. You can even come to the festival. You can do anything. No, I can't, Connor snapped, jumping up from the couch. I won't ever be able to do anything with my life. I won't ever be an actor or a politician or a teacher or anything like that. Geez, I can't even go to the movie without renting out the whole theater. My mouth hung open in disbelief. Why would you want to be a politician? My great-grandmother would have been appalled. I could just see her raising her wrinkled fist in the air, warning Connor about all the coming revolution. Connor gazed back at me with so much sadness in his eyes. You want to know why I was so upset when I got here? Yes, I said. He was ticking and it was getting bad again. He shrugged his shoulders manically as he spoke. I walked to the store before coming here. I wanted to get you some gummy bears. I gaped at him. You stopped at the store by yourself for me to get gummy bears? I know it sounds silly, but this was like the equivalent of him going to Antarctica to bring me a feather from a penguin's butt. He struggled to get the words out. I saw someone filming on their phone. My stomach dropped like it did when I ride a roller coaster. What? Yeah, Avon. They were filming the freak. I shook my head slowly, not wanting to believe it. Maybe they were doing something else? They weren't, he yelled. So you see, I can't do it. These things, I'm a freak. Next week I'll be on YouTube with a bunch of snarky comments about what a psycho I am. I'm never going out to public again. Not school, not the meetings. I'm not going to your festival. Stop it. I tried to stay calm. You're not a freak. No more than I'm a freak. You can do anything you want. Go ahead and become a politician if that's what you want. What's stopping you? This, he said as his ticking continued. I shook my head. No, you're just upset because some jerk with a cell phone did something. You can do anything you want, Connor. You're unrealistic to say I can do what I want. I know your parents have led you to believe you can do what you want, but it's not true. You can't grow up to be a surgeon. I glared at him. Why would I want to be a surgeon? And I could be anything I wanted. You have no arms, Avon. He shouted at me in exasperation like he was revealing some shocking secret I didn't already know. I gritted my teeth. Don't tell me what I can or cannot do, Connor. Oh, really? What's that supposed to mean? How come you won't play your guitar at the festival? How come you won't eat in the cafeteria? I chose not to play the guitar or eat in front of people. It's not because I can't. I don't believe you. I glared at him. We're supposed to be friends and encourage each other, Connor. That's what friends do. I'm sorry some disgusting person was filming you at the store, but you have no right to tell me what I can and can't do because of your disability. He finished it for me. Because you're disabled, Avon, like me. I stood up to face him. I didn't know why I let what Connor said infuriate me so badly. I had been called disabled before. People had referred to my disability 100 times, but it was like he had used the words to insult me. I could feel my bad temper rising and taking control. I swear if I had arms right now, I'd punch you right in the face, I cried. I'm not disabled. Why are you so mad? Connor said. I'm just stating a fact. I'm disabled. You're disabled. Everyone at that stupid support group is disabled. I'm just telling you like it is. Well, go tell it to someone else and don't come back, I yelled at him. Fine. Connor could barely get the word out because his ticking was so bad at this point. He grabbed his backpack, took out the bag of gummy bears, threw it at the floor to my feet, and flew out of the apartment. And suddenly, I felt very sorry. We'll stop there.